Hi guys, I know it's been a while since my last video. I'm so sorry to have made you guys wait so long. Today's video is basically going to be a review of When They See Us, the Netflix docuseries brought to us by Ava DuVernay. First and foremost, I just want to thank Ava DuVernay and her entire team, the actors, the wardrobe department, the fact checkers, the camera crew, everyone. Anyone who worked on When They See Us, I just want to thank all of them because they all did such an amazing job. Bringing a story like the Central Park 5 story to the masses is never an easy thing, especially because of the trauma that it carries, and just the whole case itself was just such a flawed case. So bringing a story like that to people and to try and tell that story and to retell that story as well, it's never an easy thing. And I think that they all did a wonderful job. I think they did such an amazing job at doing it. I honestly don't know how the actors who played the Central Park 5 managed to keep their sanity while portraying these characters, because to think of what the Central Park 5 went through as actual individuals, to think of them and what they went through, it's already hard. But then to not just think on it, but to actually kind of put yourself in that mindset. When you're an actor, you have to put yourself in that mindset, the mindset of the character that you're playing, and to put themselves in that mindset and to go through all of the things that they went through to get ready for that, to play those characters. I commend you guys, man. You guys, whoa. Like, you guys did amazing. I thought that it was very well put together. It wasn't an easy watch. It took me just about 3 weeks to get through it. It wasn't an easy watch at all. I see a lot of people on social media talking about it and stuff like that, and I think it's just, oh my gosh, it's a lot to talk about. I think there is no way that anyone can watch the When They See Us, the docuseries, and believe that there isn't racism in the judicial system. Watching it, I remember getting to the second part and thinking, like, not even thinking, but being reminded of a case not too long ago of a young white boy who was caught in the act of raping somebody, and he was arrested and taken to jail and everything, and the case went to trial, but the judge, I think, gave him community service, a very lenient sentence, but didn't want to send him to jail because, in the judge's words, he was a promising athlete and jail would ruin him. And it's crazy because I'm like, he was caught doing it. These 5 young boys were accused of something they didn't do. These boys were accused of something they didn't do. None of the evidence pointed in their direction. One of them wasn't even in Central Park. And yet, these 5 boys paid a price that I just feel like no one should ever have to pay. Like, oh my gosh. Like, and when I say no one should have to pay, no. Like, the rapist obviously should have to pay that price. But, like, these innocent boys didn't need to pay the price that they had to pay for the crime that they did not commit. I just don't think that's okay. Where was this judge, eh? Where was he? Or where was this mindset of jail might ruin a young, promising athlete or a young boy? Where was that mindset when these kids were being sent to jail? The youngest of them was 14. The oldest was 16, and he was tried as an adult. And he was the guy who wasn't even in Central Park when it went down. He went to support a friend. He went to the police station to support his friend and ended up being arrested. How? That's all I can ask. How? Like, it's crazy. It is crazy. The social media responses, like I said, there's been a lot, and I've been reading through a lot of them, and I kind of relate to some of them. Watching it, I've seen a lot of people describe When They See Us as a horror film, and it feels like it's a horror film. And I know a few people don't agree. I'm not gonna say a lot of people, but some people don't agree. Some people are like, people are overreacting. It's the same when Get Out came out, and everyone was like, we're scared. When Get Out came out, everybody was afraid, but it wasn't like oh my gosh, man, I'm so scared. Like, this is a reality. It was more like ooh, can you imagine if that happened? But then you wake up and you realize it couldn't happen. This is different because you can see yourself in the characters. I can see myself in the characters portrayed in this docuseries. I can easily see my brother and his friends and my friends and It's hard. It's so hard. There were moments when I was watching it that I had to pause it because I thought I was watching the news. How crazy is it that you're watching a docuseries and can't you get confused halfway through it because you think, am I watching the news? Like, you have to check to see if you're watching the news because that's how much of a reality it is for you. That's not okay. That's not okay. With general horror movies, when the credits start rolling, the movie's done. The horror has stopped. Or the villain gets caught. Or the horror portraying individual is defeated. But in this, that's not the case. In this, the credits roll and it's back to reality. Oh, reality looks just the same. This incident happened. I can't even call it an incident. It's bigger than an incident. But this happened, like 30 years ago, back in 1989. I was born in 1989. I was barely a year old when this happened. And usually you'd look back on things like that. Like, it's easy to look back on slavery and be like, oh, but that was years ago. You look back on this and you're like, oh, that was 30 years ago. But it's still happening today. It is still happening today. How many people are in jail right now for crimes they did not commit? How many people have been released from prison, exonerated for crimes they did not commit and expected to go back to living regular lives when they've been let out of jail at the ages of 56, 54? These boys were sent to prison as boys. Ask yourself what you were doing when you was 14. What were you doing when you was 15? Where were you when you was 16? They didn't get that. And there are so many people who are like, well, they were compensated, so it's okay. What does money really buy? Can it give them a time machine to make them go back in time and get back all that lost experience they had? The books that they could have read, the movies they could have gone to, the memories they could have made with their friends. You can't buy stuff like that back. You can't. They don't get that back. Like, it's crazy. It's so crazy. Oh my gosh. Like, this movie really did a number on me. I keep calling it a movie because I want it to be a movie so bad. This docuseries really did something to me. Like, it really did. I get asked a lot by people like, oh, why does it bug you so much because you're like Black British? It's Black America. You shouldn't be bothered so much. And I'm like, really though? Because just because you don't see the British televise what's going on doesn't mean that it's not going on. Like, they're losing their hold because now they can't hide it as well as they used to hide it. It's been happening. It's just the media was able to control it, and now it's gotten to a point where it's out of hand, and no, we're not taking no for an answer. We are rising up and saying, you will hear, you will see that there is a problem, and we're not going to sit by idly and pretend that it's not a problem anymore. We're not going to let you change our reality and make us confused. They're standing up. British people are rising up. It annoys me when people are like, Black British people don't have it as bad as Black American people. Why is that even a thing? We're all Black. It shouldn't be a competition. We've suffered more. You've suffered more. This person suffered more. That person suffered more. It's not a competition. People are suffering, and that is the bottom line. People are suffering. Black people are suffering, and someone needs to speak up and say something. It annoys me as well that Linda Fairstein and Elizabeth Lederer are like, yes, okay, so people have been calling for them to be fired and stuff like that, and since they've been fired, I guess, some people, like Linda Fairstein has been let go from a lot of the charity boards that she was sitting on. Her publishers have let her go. And, like, Elizabeth Lederer no longer works at Columbia Law. But, like, I'm annoyed that it took this long, that it took this time for that to happen. Linda Fairstein was given Glamour's Woman of the Year award in 1993. Glamour magazine has only just now stripped her. Not just now as in just today, but they've only just this year stripped her of the award. That's 17 years after the Central Park 5 were exonerated. 17 years it took for Glamour magazine to be like, maybe we shouldn't have given her this award. Are you kidding? And only because the docuseries came out and Glamour's like, well, this is going to look bad for optics for us. Like, how is that okay? How is that okay? Her publishing company, the publishing house that publishes all of her books, have been publishing her books from 1993 until now, this year, 2019. And they decided to stop publishing her books only because the docuseries came out. What I don't understand is, prior to the docuseries coming out, you knew who Linda Fairstein was. This case was huge. Everyone in America knew who Linda Fairstein was. So there's no way she came and sat in front of you and you went like, oh, from the Central Park 5. You knew who she was. You knew the part she played. You knew which side she stood on. And yet you still were like, it doesn't bother us. It didn't bother you because it wasn't a problem that directly affected you. And that's the reason why you were okay with it. The only reason why you're changing tactics now and letting her go or stripping her of awards is because you're now like, oh my gosh, optic wise, this isn't going to look great for us. We could lose like money. We could lose supporters. We could lose from having her as part of our team. Why did that not occur to you back then? You've allowed her to create and build a life for herself. Even if you drop her now, she's happy. She's lived a life. She's got her money put away. She's fine. She can take herself off social media and go live in hiding. No one will care. She's done what she wants to do with her life. So why now? Why now? Like, oh, well, now we can finally say something. Yay, finally. How many years later? Elizabeth Lederer was, shall I say, a professor at Columbia Law. Are you telling me when Columbia Law sat her down to interview her, they didn't know who she was? Because you can't say that, because that would be a lie. Because in her faculty bio on Columbia Law's website, it actually stated that she was part of the Central Park 5 case. Like, they were proud of it. They were proud to have her on. Knowing the side she sat on. Knowing that the boys were exonerated. They still were like, that's fine. To the point that they put it in her bio. Elizabeth Lederer, for those of you who don't know, was one of the prosecutors. I believe the one that actually said that one of the hairs on the jogger actually matched one of the Central Park 5. And it was later debunked. It was proven false. But Columbia Law's okay with that, I guess. It's fine. It's crazy to think things like this are happening, and it's crazy to think that there are people who think this is an isolated issue. There are people who think that, oh, it's something that just happened in the past. It's not happening now. It's happening today. It's happening all around us. It's a thing. It's not isolated. It's not. Please do not believe the hype. It is not isolated. This is not a one-time thing. This is something that is ongoing. When I hear people say when you're born black, you're born with a target on your back, it's sadly so true, because this is what we're being shown. This is what we are seeing all around us. It ended up being one individual who actually perpetrated the crime, and yet you took 5 young black boys to prison for a crime that they did not commit. Why? Because it just gave you a face to put to the crime. You didn't really care if the evidence was there or not. It was just 5 faces, 5 black faces, 5 colored faces, shall we say, that you could just put to the crime. It's not okay. It's not okay. Like, this docuseries like really riled me up, guys. Oh my gosh. It's crazy because the first time I heard about the Central Park 5, I was in LA. I was in a hostel in LA, and a bunch of people were talking about it. We were like watching a show, and then a bunch of people brought it up in conversation, and I remember hearing it and thinking, this can't be real. Like, these people are joking, because this can't be real. There's no way this really happened. And I remember going to read about it and being like, yo, this is crazy that something like this would happen. And then I had read so many places where people were like, oh, but it's fake. And I'm like, could it have been? Like, I wasn't sure. Then watching this docuseries, it's crazy, yo. It's crazy. And to think that there are still people, individuals out there who are like, oh, well, they admitted that they did it. How can you watch the docuseries and not realize they were coerced into saying it? How can you not? How can you not put yourself in these kids' shoes? They were kids. They could hear the others being abused, and like, oh my gosh, like Yusuf Salam actually says that he could hear the cops beating up Corey Wise in the other room. That's his friend who he brought down as a support system. A friend who was not even in Central Park, and then all of a sudden is now taken in. If you came in and asked me after me hearing all of that, I would tell whatever you want me to hear, because I don't know what you're going to do to me. If you can do that to somebody who wasn't even there, what would you do to me who was there but didn't actually perpetrate the crime? Like, what? Like, that's crazy, guys. Oh my gosh. Ugh. I'm going to calm myself down. Sorry, guys. I do want to know, though, so the conversation, I guess, for this video is, when did you guys learn about the Central Park 5? Did you hear about it in school? Did you hear about it in the news? So this happened, what, 30 odd years ago? When did you learn about it? When was it spoken about to you? Or was When They See Us the first time you actually heard about it? I want to know. I'm very curious to know when you all heard about it. I don't know what else to say. Like, this video it's jarring. It took me about 3 weeks to get through actually watching the docuseries. It was that hard. I know a lot of people haven't been able to, and if you can't watch it, it's fine. Don't feel bad. Like, there's a lot of reading material you can find on, like, online. Like, if you can't make it through, don't feel any type of way about it. It's not everyone can, and it's fine if you can't. But I will say, if you are willing to try, at least try and make it past the first part. If you can make it past the first part, take your time. Take your time. Don't rush yourself, because it's emotionally jarring. Whew, I don't even know what to say anymore, guys. I'm just gonna end the video here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you all for supporting me. For all of you who watch and share the video, please continue to like, watch, share, and support me. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so that way you keep up to date on when I do upload videos. I really appreciate the support. I can't say thank you enough. Have a great day, guys, and please, all of you, be safe.